Hi, Chapter 16. Are you sure you wouldn't prefer the cuisine at Bernardine? Asked Mr. Weinstock. It's top rated in the city. No, the Me Noodle Shop is awesome, Max told Mr. Weinstock, as everyone started piling out of the parked sedan. Her restaurant choice looked a little shabby and run down. This is a neighborhood fave. Perhaps, but is it sanitary? Mr. Weinstock's English accent made him sound super snooty. Max tapped the A sign from the NYC Health Department posted in the restaurant's front window. It's super clean, she said. We have nothing to worry about. Except Dr. Zim, mumbled Carl. I doubt he'll be searching for us here, sniffed Mr. Weinstock. I'm sorry this isn't the best restaurant in New York, said Max, sensing her friend's disappointment. But they have seafood here, too. Scallops, shrimp, salmon. Oh, joy. Hiya, Max, said the host who greeted the group inside the restaurant. Table for four? No thanks, Mr. Lin. We need this order to go. Max and Mr. Lin were friendly. From time to time during the dinner rush, she'd hop on one of the restaurant's bikes and help with deliveries. Her paycheck always came in a cardboard takeout container. Free food for dinner. She also got to keep her tips. Mr. Lin pulled a stubby pencil and order pad. What would you folks like? Let's see, said Max, calling up the restaurant's menu from memory. Scallion pancakes, 2 orders of pan-fried dumplings, crispy chicken in sesame sauce, 3 of those, 3 General Tso's chicken, too, a couple lo mains with shrimp, stir-fried rice. She ordered 3 dozen different dishes. How about you guys? She asked the others. Do you want anything? No thanks, said Isabel. What you ordered should be plenty for all of us. Oh, I'm sorry. This food isn't for me, it's for my friends. Pardon? Said Mr. Weinstock. Mr. Kennedy, Mrs. Rabinowitz, Roxanne, Pablo, the whole gang at the stables. They haven't had a good Chinese dinner since forever. Oh, said Carl. In that case, double everything, Mr. Lin. Mr. Lin looked at his order pad. He also looked stunned. Who will you be paying for this with a credit card? He asked. No, said Isabel. Cash. She reached into a zippered pocket in her sleek leather jacket and extracted several $100 bills. She handed the money to Mr. Lin. Oh, this is too much, said Mr. Lin. You forgot to factor the tip, said Carl with a smile. Mr. Lin bowed quickly and dashed off to the kitchen. Lesson number 1, Carl said to Max. Credit cards leave a trail. Always carry cash. Thank you, said Max, but I don't have any cash. At the CMI, said Isabel, you'll be given a comfortable allowance, provided, of course, you do your chores. When the food was ready, Max and her new friends loaded a dozen shopping bags filled with steaming, fragrant Chinese takeout food containers into the trunk and back seat of their car. They cruised a few blocks west and south to the stables. We're taking note of this, said Carl. Of what? Asked Max, genuinely confused. Your generosity, said Carl. It is an excellent trait, added Isabel. We offered a celebration for yourself, and you turned it into a feast for others. Well, I'm still not exactly sure what we're celebrating, but what fun is a party if you don't invite your friends and neighbors? Isabel parked the car in front of the stables. She and Carl announced they would be staying with the vehicle, while Max and Mr. Weinstock toted the food up the steps to the 3rd floor. We need to be ready to initiate a rapid extraction protocol should any unanticipated company attempt to crash your party, said Carl. You're still worried about this Dr. Zim? Asked Max. Constantly, said Isabel. But we shan't let that or anything else ruin your bon voyage celebration, Maxine, said Mr. Weinstock, grabbing hold of a dozen different bag handles. Now lead the way. Mr. Kennedy emerged from the shadows. Max, what's going on? Are you in the lottery, girl? No, said Maxine with a laugh. My new friends and I just wanted to treat you guys to Chinese tonight. Well, that's a mighty fancy car you're driving around in, too, said Mr. Kennedy. Yeah, said Max. And Isabel there behind the wheel? She drives it like a maniac. Did you bring bagels, Max? Asked Mrs. Rabinowitz, coming out of the stables to check on all this commotion. Not tonight, Mrs. Rabinowitz, but I picked up your favorites from the noodle shop. Mugu gai pan with brown rice with a side order of egg rolls. Mrs. Rabinowitz bounced up and down on her heels and clapped. Forget the bagels! I'll have leftover Chinese for breakfast. What's the occasion, Max? Asked Mr. Kennedy, taking charge of half a dozen bags and leading the way to the stables, which still reeked of horse manure. Well, sir, I'm going on a trip. Is that so? Yep, I'm going to need my suitcase. Going someplace special? Very, said Mr. Weinstock, but we'd rather not discuss the details. And why's that, Mr. Einstein, said Mr. Weinstock. Mr. Leonard Einstein. I'm Maxine's long-lost uncle, and she's coming home with me. Well, I'll be darned, said Mr. Kennedy. Chinese food and a long-lost uncle. This is your lucky day, ain't it, Max? I hope so, Mr. Kennedy. I really hope so.